Well, good morning, folks. Yeah, hope you're all doing well. You'll find me at the wonderful venue, Ferry Meadows. As some of you may or may not know, they're doing a 4-match series on here, both lakes, Gunwade and Overton, and we've had one match so far. I wasn't able to film that match. That was 2 weeks ago. I was lucky enough to be drawn, because they do a rolling draw here. You have to drive into the overflow car park and they draw your peg out for you because of social distancing. So it's very well organised. Yeah, but I was lucky enough to be drawn peg 9 on Overton. Peg I know very well, and it's also, well, it can be a very good peg. Although, leading up to that match, none of them pegs along that bank really had been fishing in the early numbers anyway. It was the opposite bank, which was like the 101s to 115s that had been sort of producing fish. As it happens, the wind was blowing right into our faces, and yeah, for the first time this year the fish got onto the wind, which is unusual because it was still freezing cold. The water was still freezing cold, but they got on it luckily, and the fish were over our side. Cutting a long story short, I won the lake. So you're trying to win your lake as opposed to win the whole match. I actually was only a few ounces away from winning the whole match. Someone on Gunwade, which you can see behind me, had 66 pounds dead, and I had 65.12. So I do apologise for not knowing that guy's name, but well done to him. So yeah, so we're both on 1 point. Because it's like an accumulative points, so obviously if you finish first you get a point, finish second 2 points, and so on and so forth. Lowest amount of point wins at the end of the 4-match series. So I'm here today for the second of those matches, and yeah, really looking forward to it. As you know, Ferry Meadows is one of my favourite venues. I love open natural waters bream fishing. It doesn't get any better for me. So yeah, they've had the Ringers 2-dayer was on here last weekend, the bank holiday weekend, and there was some massive weights caught. Simon Farmer won that, so well done, Simon. Yeah, fantastic angling on the second day. He had over 100 pounds, about 120 pounds I think it was he had, on the 125 pound even, on the second day. Off of the fence pegs there, apparently a lot of the weights come from that area, so that's kind of like in the higher 80s and low 90s. So anyway, on to today. We've had a load of rain yesterday, which is the first significant amount of rain we've had for quite a while, so we did need it. I don't know how that's going to affect it. I don't know if it's going to switch it off. I don't know if it's going to pump a bit of water in from the Nene and get a bit of colour into the lake. I've just had a look down here. Doesn't look like there's a lot of colour here, but there could well be on the other side, so which is where the colour tends to, because the river comes in on the other side and the colour tends to stay over there. Doesn't normally produce a lot of colour on Overton because obviously the river runs out there, so we need a lot of water pumping in for it to all get coloured up. So but just a little bit of colour can make a big difference. But obviously with the rain, it can do one or two things. It can either improve it or switch it off. The good thing about today is the wind direction has changed over the last 3 days. And we've got more of a southerly today as opposed to a northerly or an easterly. So hopefully the fish should feel a bit more comfortable. It's a low pressure, really low today as well, and continuing to get lower, so everything's pointing in the right direction. We have got a nice breeze up to 20 mile an hour, as you could probably hear on the camera, so I apologise obviously for the sound quality. But yeah, so there's a nice ripple on it behind me. It's looking really nice, to be honest with you. So I don't really have a favourite sort of area, to be honest with you, on Ferry Meadows, because you just never know where you sit. The fish could just be there. You know, I've rocked up on certain swims thinking I'm not going to get a bite, and I've ended up winning the match. So yeah, I've rocked up on really good pegs thinking, yeah, I'm going to be in here, and really struggled. So, but anyway, my approach today is going to be as it normally is. I'm going to put a fair bed of bait out there on my long line, and hopefully they'll move in on that. I'll bait up a short line, but I won't put as much bait out on there. Fishing conventional, however I will have a method rod set up, because if they really rock up, it's just the quickest way and the most positive way of getting the bites. But yeah, last the last match here all happened to me in the last hour and a half, to be honest with you. I was struggling. I was quite a few fish behind. I had Rob Freyer to my left, and there was Paul Wright. There was quite a few good anglers to my left, and they were all on sort of like 8-9 fish, and I was on 4. It was an hour and a half to go. I was getting loads of liners, massive liners, biggest liners I think I've ever had. Pulling my rod in, literally just pulled it off my rest onto me keep net, and it was just a line. There was no fish there, but on the end anyway. So there was fish around, but just couldn't get them to settle. Yes, in the end, I actually filled it in with worm in that last hour and a half. I just managed to get him to settle on me, and I just managed to ended up with 12 bream in the end. 11 bream, sorry, and 1 hybrid. So I had 12 fish. I lost 1, but that's par for the course here, unfortunately. But there we go. So anyway, I've got to drive over to the overflow car park and do the rolling draw. Once we do the rolling draw, we'll know where we're going to be, and I can drive to that car park. Obviously, it all depends if it's Gunwade or Overton, and on what side of the lake. Obviously, anywhere on Gunwade, I'm going to park in the main car park here. On Overton, if I'm in the low numbers, I'll move to the other car park. So, right, I'm going to sign off now, and I shall, yeah, hopefully try and film the draw. I shall come back to you in a bit. Cheers. Well, we've got ourselves in the queue, yeah, almost at the front, so I like to get here early, just get me peg. Like I say, I'm not really too worried about where I get drawn. Just means I can just get off to whatever car park and get my gear loaded up and get to my swim early to get myself organised. So, yeah, I'll just step out. There's no one near me at the moment, but as you can see, this is a rolling draw, so all these cars queued up, a few anglers, social distancing out there, which is good. Everyone's queuing. There's Graham there, ready to do the draw, got his table, he'll do the draw for us. So he just picks the ticket out, shows you it, and then off you go. So best way of obviously keeping it all COVID friendly. So yeah, I've got 6 minutes to go, so I'll come back to you and show you Graham drawing out my peg. Fingers crossed it's got a load of bream in it. Come back to you in a minute. Cheers. Right, here we go. Going for the draw now. It's my turn. Right. Morning, chaps. Smile for the camera.
There we do.
Oh, look at bright breezy. What we got in, Graham? What you got me? What you got me?
I don't know yet.
Come on. Oh, 13. Oh, we'll have that. We'll have that. Not far from where I was the other day. Right, let's get off there. Have a good day, guys.
Yeah.
Have a good day, Darren.
Ta-ra, mate.
Cheers. Peg 13 on Overton. I was on 9 last time, so a few pegs up, but yeah, there could be a few fish there. So it's not the best pegs, but we have to try and make it the best peg, won't we? Anyway, I'll get round there, get my gear out, get tackled up, and I'll come back to you. Cheers. Ta-da. Right then, guys, here we go. Peg 13. So I've never fished here before. In fact, I've never fished this sort of section before. I've gone up, I think I've fished about 18, 19 before, but I've never fished this section here, so it's a real unknown for me. So anyway, there's my office for the day. I don't know if you can see, but I've got a bit of a steep bank there to get over, so I'm actually going to put me because of casting, obviously I don't want to be hooking that bank, so I'm actually going to put my platform out there and go out a little bit further. So yeah, but yeah, anyway, that's the office. There's Overton, Ferry Meadows. As you can see, the wind is behind us, which isn't good. Really would want that in our faces. So yeah, don't quite know how that's going to affect things, but anyway, I am where I am, and I shall fish it as best as I can to see if I can get the tip to go round. So right, I'm going to get geared up now, start mixing up my ground bait, get that prepared, and yeah, start getting my platform out there and get tackled up. So I shall come back to you in a minute once I'm all set up. See you in a bit. Cheers. Right then guys, all set up, just yeah, in about 20 minutes to go. So yeah, so anyway, there we go, there I am, and there's my office. So yeah, no secret on how I'm going to approach it. I've got two lines, one is 60 and the other one's 30. So yeah, fairly simple. Found a nice little spot out there at the 60 meters, so yeah, hopefully that might hold a few fish. Always try and find something out there on the bed that might try and hold a few fish, maybe a slightly bit of deeper water or on the edge of a weed bed, or you know. So also here it's quite gravelly in some areas, and I don't like fishing in that gravel. I like fishing just off of it. So you know, there's some of the features you want to look for anyway. But yeah, I've also set up a method rod today. I didn't last time, 2 weeks ago. Didn't need it, didn't feel like I need it, but today I may do. I may need to go out quite a long way just to try and nick the odd fish, because yeah, like I said, the wind's off of our backs today, and the wind is, yeah, it's pushing right in the other end of the lake. 2 weeks ago the wind was in our face and the fish were our side, so got a feeling the fish are going to be on that wind, but you never know, so we'll give it a go. Yeah, going to bait me 60 metre line quite heavy, not so much on my short line. Yeah, I won't put any worm out there to start, but then I'll start introducing that as the match goes on, just like I normally do, and just kind of see what happens and feel my way in, really. So yeah, I've got to get my tripod down there, so obviously I can film myself doing a bit of fishing. But yeah, so once the all-in starts, I shall come back to you. See you in a bit. Cheers, bye. Right, 15 minutes to go. Yeah, I'm just going to go with my rods with you and my reels. This is my baiting up rod. I'm just using the Free Spirit High S power feeder distance. That's a 14 metre, it's a 14 foot rod. Got that coupled up with the 25 QD distance reel, Dower 25 QD distance reel. All the rods today are Free Spirit. So for my method line, I've actually got the High S. It's the power feeder distance, and that's the 13 foot, and that's for my method rod. Not too worried about too much finesse with that one, as it's a method rod. Short line, I've actually got the 11 foot, that's the High S power feeder special. So that's a 13 foot. Both of those two are coupled up with the new 4010 Daiwa QD reels. They're the tournaments. But yeah, the special rods are special, there's no two ways about it. They're a bit softer than the distance rods, they've got a bit more of a progressive action. So my main line, which is my 60 metre line, I have got the High S power feeder special 13 foot. Coupled up with the 25 QD Dower reel. Awesome rod, all abbreviated butts, as I've spoke about before, so just because you just feel so much more through the rod. So but yeah, the special is, it's not stiff, so yes, casting, it's still going to cast a long way with it, but it's obviously not going to be quite as far as the distance rod, hence the reason why it's a distance. But the special still gives you a hell of a cast, but it's just got a much more progressive action. Superb for bream fishing, especially at distance. And as I'm fishing with braid, obviously I'm going to be wanting to have that progressive action. I've got the power gum on. You can see that's actually the feeder gum, so my hook length is going to be attached to that. Just a free running rig, and that's the same on my short line as well. As you can see, it's a free running rig there, and I've got the feeder gum just here. So once again, just to give it a bit of a shock protection, like, you know, as them bream are punching with that braid, just gives it a little bit of a shock protection. Right, I'm going to crack on then, get my hook lengths done, and then yeah, it won't be long before the all in, so come back to you soon. Well guys, I'm on my third cast now. Yeah, spent about 15-20 minutes baiting up. Obviously baited up my long line and baited up my short line, and I've been out on the long line for a couple of casts, two 10-minute casts. In fact, the first one was 12 minutes, and yeah, and I'm now on my third cast, and I'm not far from 10 minutes in on that as well. I'm just going to do 10-minute casts at the moment, and then yeah, it's getting up for 50 minutes. We've been since the all in, so nearly an hour in. I will increase it up to 12 minutes, but I don't really want to be fishing any longer than 12 minutes unless it's really tough and hard. Then I may have a cast out there and leave it out there for half an hour maybe, but I like to keep the bait going in at Ferry. So just got a standard matrix bullet feeder on at the moment. Show you here. Yeah, just fishing with one of those matrix feeders. As you can see, the lead goes through there, so the bait can't come out the bottom, it can only come out the top. But because of the way the weight is, it goes through the air really well. Not that I'm having problems casting today, because obviously I've got the wind behind me, so it's nice and easy. And on my short line, just got a standard Guru exchange feeder. Probably only fish with about 30 grams on that. Fish with a 5 hole, sorry. Once again, just to get enough bait out there. But yeah, I'll give it a few more casts on this long line if I don't have any signs or anything at all. Can't see anyone else catching, then I'll have a little look on my short line. Just keeps alternating between the two. Yeah, at some stage I will put a window feeder on my long line. Yeah, I've got plenty of those in here. To show you. So these are window feeders, different types. You've got these Preston ones where you can actually use them and the ground bait can actually come out the sides, but most common ones I use are these ones here, where it's fairly solid. You have got a few holes on the side, but you predominantly fill it up with dead reds or worm, and you literally just cap that off with a bit of ground bait. Obviously, yeah, that's just the extension I use. So these are the Guru exchange ones, and you can just literally just turn the bottom there and the lead comes off. You can put whatever weight lead you want on there, which is quite good according to the conditions that you're fishing in. But these really do cast well, so if you've got really bad weather, like heavy wind in your face, they're one of the best ways of fishing. Kind of developed over in Ireland really. But yeah, at the moment, got the wind behind, the sun is trying to poke through. It's quite warm. It's not looking too promising on this bank, to be honest with you. Although there is a little bit of a ripple out there, there is a very slight tinge of colour in the water, not much of one. We really are on the wrong side of the lake, I think. You know, any numbers of fish are going to come out on the other bank. Someone may have a shoal of fish settle them on this side, you know, with a bit of luck, it'd be me. Anyway, I'll keep plugging away and hopefully come back to you with a fish on. I'll see you in a bit. Well guys, we're an hour and 3/4 in, and I've not had a touch, and everybody I can see along this bank hasn't had a touch either. I think that's about from peg 117 down to, sorry, 17 down to peg 9. So yeah, it's looking very quiet, unfortunately. Apparently, even in the real hot pegs on the other lake, it's not fishing particularly great. So yeah, perhaps it might, perhaps that rain that we had last night sort of quietened them off a little bit, and they'll come on a little bit later on. So we just keep plugging away. I've yeah, I've come off my long line now, and I'm on my second cast on my short line, just to see if there's any indications there or anything. But yeah, I've not had a touch yet. But yeah, I'll give that one more go, and then I'll go back out on my long line. But yeah, don't know, I've not put any worm out there yet, so I might yeah, I might start feeding some worm on my long line to see if I can try and generate some interest. But don't think there's a great deal being caught on the far bank either. I know there's definitely one being caught, but that's where I'd rather be, over there with the wind in my face. But yeah, I don't think that's really fishing particularly amazing either, so yeah, just have to wait and see. I think they're going to rock up somewhere at some stage, but yeah, if that's in front of us or not, we don't know. Anyway, come back to you later, hopefully with a fish on. Well guys, a bit of an update. Yeah, it's 2.5 hours in and no one along this bank's had a touch. It's just been really poor. I've not heard of many fish coming out at all, to be honest with you, just like the odd one or two. So yeah, it's pretty grim. So I've refed my long line and introduced a small amount of worm now, and I've come off of that. I've obviously been chopping and changing between my long line and short line. I've not had a touch. So anyway, I've now got my method feeder out. I've clipped that up at 100 meters, and I put 4 or 5 larger method feeder, hybrid feeders full of pellets out there. We've got a bit of a crosswind, so I wasn't that accurate in my casting, to be honest with you. It was bloody awful, to be fair, if I'm perfectly honest. Yeah, so I've got a bit of a scattering of bait out there at the minute, and I've put a small method feeder on with a little wafter at 100 meters, just to see if there's anything out at that distance. No one else is fishing that distance, so you never know, it just might be the way to go. You're just going to need sort of like, you know, 4 or 5 pulls. So, and yeah, the method feeder, fishing at that distance, just may be the way to do it. So I shall just be, yeah, swapping between the 3 lines now, really, just to see if I can nick a fish. But yeah, very, very slow. I don't know if it's sort of sea really above me, but it looks cloudy, but it's bloody warm, really warm. And the sun keeps on poking through, which really isn't doing it any good, to be honest with you. And the water level has dropped a good 2 inches since I've been sat here, so that can't be good either, to be fair. But then we did have quite a bit of rain yesterday, so anyway, I shall yeah, keep my fingers and my toes and everything else crossed that it's going to go round, and hopefully come back to you with a fish on. See you soon. Ta-da, bye. Well, curse of the bloody camera. I didn't bring it last time, won the lake. And yeah, typical this time, bought the cameras for you guys, and I've not had a touch 3 hours in. No, I've not seen a sign. But it ain't just me, it's this whole bank. No one's had a fish yet. No one's had a liner or anything. There's a few fish starting to come out on the far bank now with the wind in their faces. So well, I'm hearing that there's a few fish come out. I think someone might have even had 7 bream over there, but yeah, we'll wait and see at the end. But yeah, this side's no good. I'm still out on my method feeder. Like I say, I'm about 100 meters on that at the moment. Not had a liner or anything at all. So yeah, I did refeed my long line. So I'm gonna, yeah, finish up on this cast if it don't go round on my method feeder, and then go back out on my long line, see if anything's settled on that feed. But yeah, bit of a struggle. Anyway guys, fingers crossed, come back to you with a fish. Well, my dad's turned up, brought me a muffin, ginger and raisin. I still ain't had a touch. Sorry, ginger and sultana. So I reckon by the time I've eaten this, my tip's going to go round. Hopefully he's brought me a bit of luck. Yeah, we've got an hour and 45 to go. But very quiet. I've just I've started stepping up. I've gone back onto my long line now at 60 metres. I've just started doing 5-minute casts, starting to put a load of worm out there. Nothing else is happening, so I've got nothing to lose. So hopefully we can get a few to move in. Come back to you in a bit. Bloody pike.
pike.
Yeah.
Fish. Only 15 up here at the pike. Yeah, Alan.
Would you believe that, eh?
They're hammering them at the monument. Someone up had 4 while he was stood there. Did you fish still?
Hey?
Did you fish still?
No, it's took the worm. It's took the worm.
How big?
No, not very big.
No, a bit big, so I'm not on it. Your audience, you don't all get a wrong luck.
There you go. At least I caught one for the camera, guys. Nice pike. Unfortunately, I can't weigh that in. Still, never mind. Little bit of excitement. Got an hour and 20 minutes to go. Right, let's go again. Well, guys, that's it. All over and done with. All I had was that one pike. Unfortunately, I can't weigh in. All the guys to my right, none of them had a sign whatsoever. The guy to my left never had a sign whatsoever. The guy to his left, which I think was peg 17, had one bite, one fish. The guy next to him, 18, had one skimmer. And then the guy next to him, which I think is peg 19, I think had 4 bream, I think. So he's won our section. There's been plenty of fish caught on the other side. I think there might be sort of like 5s, 6s and 7s. I think no one's absolutely romped it. Don't know what's happened on Gunwade. Someone come round earlier and said they were really bagging up on the monument, but up until that point I'd heard that 3 fish was winning the whole lake, so I don't know, but I'll get to find out. But yes, so curse of the camera this time, so I've gone from hero to 0. So I won the lake last time, and I do not weigh this time. I did not weigh, but there we go, never mind. So that's Ferry Meadows for you. She can be very moody, so you've got to be in it to win it. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you've had, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed and you want to see more videos like this, then please hit subscribe. So anyway, guys, yeah, next weekend I've got a double header. I've got Boddington's on the Saturday, which is a classic qualifier, and then I'm back here at Ferry Meadows for the 3rd of the 4-match series. So I hope to see you in the swim soon. See you later.